Hello and welcome to Nepal Tech. So for today I have brought a new topic regarding the installation and setup of Jenkins on Ubuntu server. So it is a production deployment series. Here I'll be talking regarding the Jenkins and its install and setup on Ubuntu server. So Ubuntu is one of the Linux distributions. So here I'm using Ubuntu 20.04 version of Ubuntu. And talking about Jenkins, Jenkins is an CI/CD tool. So talking about CI/CD, it refers to the continuous integration and continuous deployment. So it is a collection of multiple tools, and within that tools, Jenkins is one of the tools that is required by DevOps as well for the continuous integration and continuous deployment. And talking about Jenkins, it is a tool written on Java programming language. So for running the Jenkins, we'll be requiring to install JDK for Java. And so basically that's the things regarding the Jenkins. So I'll be creating a separate video for Jenkins. So this will be specific regarding the installation and setup of Jenkins. So I have shown you the multiple commands there on the notepad. So the first command is to check the version. If we have installed the Java, it will be showing us with some specified version, else it will give us error. So we'll move on to the second command. So sudo apt update, what it basically does is it updates the system and the packages that are currently available on it. And talking about the third, it installs the Java JDK. So for running Jenkins, as I said earlier, we'll be requiring Java JDK. For that, we'll be requiring specific version. So according to the need of our version, we can specify the version to it. So I have given you the two versions, 8 and 11 on the notepad. And the fourth command here shows the GPG key for verification. So in order to install Jenkins, we need to verify the key for integrity. So this command basically adds the key for the verification. And the fifth command, what we need to do is we need to add the Jenkins to source list. So for adding the Jenkins to source list, we need to run this command, and after that we'll again update the system and Jenkins, sorry, and we'll update the system, and after that we'll install the Jenkins. So up to this list, we have installed the Java successfully, and after that we'll install the Jenkins. And after installing the Jenkins, we'll be checking or viewing the status of Jenkins. So after viewing the status, it shows us stopped or running state. So according to the status, we'll move on, and the other steps or the other command there. So sudo systemctl enable now Jenkins. So if we want to enable Jenkins during the boot up, we need to run this command, and after running all of these commands successfully, we can be able to access the Jenkins from our browser. So for that, we'll be entering the HTTP IP address or domain. So IP address refers to the public or private IP address. So we'll be using the specified IP address. So in this video, I'll be showing you with public IP address. So after entering the public IP address, as public IP address is accessible from the internet, so we can use it to access from anywhere, or we can also use domain to access it. And 8080 is the port that is used by Jenkins in default. So let me move on to the server part for the installation. So for this, I'll be doing secure shell login to my server. So this server is remotely located on Singapore region. So here we can see, okay, I think I missed. Okay, the host key verification has failed. In order to change this, I need to go to this path. So let me copy this path and let me go to this path. Okay, so non-host is a file. So let me do nano. So we'll get best support the nano. Yes, it does. So what I need to do is let me remove all these entries here. Control save, and let me clear the screen, and let me do the run the command once again. So let me continue and let me enter the password. So I am successfully logged into my server, which is provisioned remotely on a Singapore region. So I am using Huawei Cloud for deployment. So let me clear the screen once again and let me go to the command. So first let me run Java version to check if it is installed or not. So it shows that Java is not installed and cannot be found locally. So let me update the system first. So since I am a root user, I do not need the sudo command. So let me update the system. After successfully updation, let me install the JDK. So I'll be installing the JDK of version 11. You can choose your specific version to it. So let me paste the command here and run the command as well. And let me add the GPG key. Okay, so this might take some time. So Java JDK might take some time. So till then, what I can do is let me go to the MS Paint and let's see. So basically, Jenkins is a mediator or a bridge, let's say. So this is a Jenkins, and this is where the magic of Jenkins lies. So let's call this as GitHub. So what basically we are doing is multiple developers from different end are pushing their code to the remote origin that is on the GitHub. So GitHub is a repository for code, source code management also we can say that. So this is developer 01, this is developer 02, this is developer 03, and they are developing certain product and working on certain feature. So what they will do is they will basically all three of them will push it to the push their changes to the remote origin. So this is remote. So after that, what Jenkins will do is it will take the code from the GitHub and do all the build here, and after the success build it will send the status accordingly, and after success build, as per our requirement, we can deploy in using any other configuration management tool like Ansible, Safe, Puppet, or we can direct deploy it to the deployment server. So basically what we are doing is we are installing Jenkins so that it will act as a mediator or bridging, or it will fulfill the bridging gap between the GitHub and the deployment server. So here we'll be writing the pipeline code, here we'll be writing the workflows, and everything will be written here. And the GitHub, every new changes will be triggered on Jenkins. So after any changes pushed on the GitHub, it will be triggered on Jenkins and it will be running the build. And after the successful build, the thing that we specify here will be working accordingly. So let's not move on to this part right now. So understand this, that Jenkins is a CI/CD tool. So what it is doing is it is doing the continuous integration here. So basically after every successful push or successful commit, it will throw the code here, and after throwing the code here, it will do the build for it, and it will store the code as well. So we'll be seeing that on the later video. Okay, so this is taking a bit much more time as I expected it to take. So now let's see, it's getting installed. So it's trying to unpack the files that it had downloaded. Okay, so this is the thing basically. So it shows 49 percentage. I could have stopped the video and recontinued it, but I don't want any problem from the user end as well. So let me extend it to the time interval that is take. So it successfully installed it. So let me add the key for verification. So note that this command won't give us any output. So it shows it successfully added there. Now let's add Jenkins to our source list so that we can install it. So before that, we'll update the system. So after successfully adding the JDK, now we'll be installing the Jenkins. Okay, so let me paste it and let me run the installation. After that, we'll check the status of Jenkins here. So for the status, we have sudo systemctl status Jenkins. So it will be giving us the status of Jenkins. So there are two status. It will be showing us stopped if the Jenkins has stopped, or else it will be showing us running. So let's wait for some time while the Jenkins is getting installed. So it's a 65%, 69. So yeah, installing software takes certain time, so we must get used to it. So yeah, as I showed you on the paint, I think almost the idea got cleared on your head. So this portion, this is handled by DevOps engineer. So GitHub is also one of the DevOps tool as well. So it is used as a source code management, and we also have Git, which will be installed on the developers end. And using Git, they can do all the features regarding Git as well. All the branching, merging, all the Git commits can take place with the help of Git and GitHub. And so yes, Jenkins has been installed. So systemctl status Jenkins. So after running this, we can see it is active and running. So let's enable the Jenkins as well. Systemctl enable Jenkins. So we can add the now command as well, or we can remove this and add the Jenkins as well. So the both thing are same. If we do, it will act from right now. Else it will be acting from the boot up. So this will be working on by default. So let me go to my IP address. So for that, as I already mentioned you, the IP address of my host. So as I did SSS login to my server. So let me exit from my server and show you what I did SSS login to the server. So this is my IP address. So this is a public IP address. So which is accessible from the internet as well. So let me paste the IP address here and let me access it to the port 8080. So as I said you earlier, Jenkins listen on port 8080 by default. So we'll be requiring to enter the port 8080, or we can define it on the server, and based on that port we can access it. So what basically we are seeing on the server is unlock Jenkins. So in order to unlock Jenkins, we need to add a initial admin password. So initial admin password will be asked you always whenever you install the Jenkins on the root blank server. So for that, Jenkins provide a default password which is located inside the var lib Jenkins secret, and inside secret there is an initial admin password to it. So we need to copy that initial password from the server and paste it on the administrator password here on the browser for accessing it over the internet. So let me go to my server. Let me do the SSS login once again and let me enter my password. So here you can see I have successfully entered inside my password. So let me clear the screen and let me run the command cat. So what cat does is we can view the contents on the file. So this is my initial admin password. So let me copy the, looks like I have copied. Let me paste it. Okay, the password has been copied successfully. So it's asking for customize Jenkins. So we can select the default plugins as well, or we can install the default plugin. Sorry, we can select our customized plugin, or we can install the default plugin. So what I'll be doing is I'll be doing the install suggested plugin. So for this, it will be adding the required plugins or the default plugins, and as per my need, I can add plugins to it as well. So here you can see it is getting started, and so yeah, this might take certain time and we need to wait for time. So what it's doing is it's adding the plugins like folders, timestamper, pipeline, git, LDAP, OSWAP, markup formatter, workspace cleanup, GitHub branch source, SSS build agent as email extension, build timeout. So these are basically the pipelines that it is providing by default. And this specific plugins has specific use cases. So there you can see there is an email extension. So it is used for email. So whenever, as I said, whenever the code gets entered inside the GitHub, what it does is it runs the build, and after the build is successful, it will notify with the help of email. So for that, we'll be requiring email extension. And for SSS build agent, so infrastructure as a code tools like so configuration management tools like Ansible, Safe Puppet, they will be requiring the SSS login from the system. So for that, we'll be requiring the SSS build agents to it. So this is the plugin that is required by it. So GitHub branch source. So in order to specify our GitHub, so in order to tell Jenkins that this is our GitHub, we need to provide GitHub branch and GitHub remote location. So for that, we need to provide GitHub branch source as well. And Gradle and are the build tool. So pipeline refers to the pipeline that we'll be writing for our code according to the nature of our code. So pipeline can be declarative, And basically there are many types of pipelines, so I'll be telling regarding the pipelines and other things on the next video, so please don't get confused on it. So I'll be waiting till the um, installation gets successful. So after this it will be asking us for the username and password so that we can easily log into it after for the second time after this first installer. So basically let's wait for around 2 to 4 minutes. I think it will take as that much time. So these are the plugins that is it is downloading. So these are the credential binding, SCM API, pipeline API. So individual plugin has individual functionalities. So it must install all the dependencies associated with it. So it shows here. So these are the required dependencies this specific plugin will take. So for timestamper, we can see it requires caffeine API, script security, JXB, Snake YAML API. So these are the various types of things or the dependencies required by the plugins. So let us wait for some time. Sorry, I might be making it bold by speaking. So please don't get bored. So this is a production level deployment. So as you can see here, we have used the public IP address. So this public IP address is accessible over the internet. So not only from my this device, I can access it from anywhere. So this is the beauty of public IP address. So yeah, so the default plugins are downloaded successfully. So let me add a username to it. So let me give my name and let me specify a password. So let me add my full name and let me give my email address. Okay, so after this I'll do the save and continue. And so here it shows instance configuration. So this is asking us the Jenkins URL. So by default I'll be leaving it as it is. So I'll do save and finish. And so here you can see the status Jenkins is ready. So your setup is complete. Start using Jenkins. So when I click on start using Jenkins, this is the Jenkins dashboard. So we can use the Jenkins from here. Sorry for that. So this is my profile section. Just right now I created this. So this is the full name that I provided to it. And basically yeah, there are many more things on Jenkins. And since Jenkins is a bridging gap or the mediator between other tools, so Jenkins knowledge will not only take care of all every other tools, but the integration part takes the most valuable role during the entire life cycle. So please follow along with the other videos as well. So let me end this video here. So this is the setup regarding the Jenkins. So thank you for your time.